changing locations and shit. Man, into this motherfucking bag. Stand on the way I made. Sacrificing time for this shit, man, I got a plan. Tried to tell niggas years ago, they ain't understand. Riding by myself and it's cool, I'm all in my head. Everything in life you can't replace, I build relationships. Pretty little smile make a nigga wanna lock it in. We met the same time I lost a friend, we should try again. You been on my mind, you should hop in. I ain't gon' hurt you, baby girl, you know we locked in. Used to be on FaceTime calls on the regular. Never made time, landed on my busy schedule. Now every time I get the bay, you know I think of you. Working on your brand, love, you know that I
And we are live. What's good with y'all, man? It's your boy, Henny DeMoore, reporting live from the liquor store, man. How's everybody doing? And happy Monday, man. Happy Monday. You know, it's just the beginning of the work week. I know most of y'all enjoyed your holiday, got an opportunity to chill with your family, partake, in some family bonding activity over the holidays, man. So salute to everybody. Hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and everything else in between. And listen, I done caught some of y'all before y'all made it to work. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to get sloppy drunk. You ain't got to get drunk on the job. But you can come in and get a little shot or two with your boy Henny inside the liquor store this morning, man. So salute to everybody. Salute to Angie coming through, already helping us with the manifestation with the 7 shot glasses. We're trying to manifest that 7 championship. My boy Rail up here helping us manifest. If you know, you know. Salute to Rail in the building. Salute to Calvin Jefferson in the building. Salute to everybody sliding in early this morning, man. Salute to Darnell Lamar, the only Lamar that I actually, acknowledge. Y'all be fucking with Kendrick like that. So salute to everybody, man. And hey, listen, we just finna, have ourselves a little quick show. We're gonna talk about the Detroit Lions, or playoff odds, some different things, man. We got a little bit of stuff to touch on. And like my brother said, man, Thursday coming quick. You got today, you got Tuesday, you got Wednesday, and then, we playing. Matter of fact, Wednesday we on the plane. We on the plane with it. We in the air with it on Wednesday, man. So, it is fast approaching. So without further ado, y'all know what to do. Hit that like button. Hit that share if you care. Slap the shit out of an Eagles fan because you know they deserve it. And, if you want to help keep the lights on inside the liquor store, you can hit that Cash App and you can hit that Super Chat, man, because we do work for food. We will make content for food, man. Salute to Miss Queen in the building. Salute to Queen sliding in. Say good morning, everyone. Salute, salute, salute. So let's go ahead and talk about it, man. One thing I need us to know, and really I ain't gonna start there. I'm gonna start with the controllable, man. I always say control what you can control, and everything else will work itself out. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the grand scheme of things, when you talk about who needed to lose and who needed to win and all the other shit yesterday, the Dallas Cowboys got no help. You know what I'm saying? Some teams like the Rams getting upset kind of sort of didn't help you out. You can make the argument that, hey, since, they're no longer the 1 seed, they got to play down the stretch, so that bodes well for you. They play some of the other teams that are ahead of you. You can make an argument like that. But in terms of just guys ahead of us losing games to put us in better position right this moment, that did not happen. Right? But, the Lord says that he will help those who help themselves, man. And the Dallas Cowboys, if they handle their own business, if they win the games on their schedule, and they don't get caught up in the tiebreakers, and they don't get caught up in hate watching, and they don't get caught up, in praying on somebody else's downfall, they can still make the postseason. They said right here that if the Dallas Cowboys do win out, and that's what I've been saying this entire time, win your games, run the table, win your games, and let everything else sort itself out. If the Dallas Cowboys run the table, they have a 98% chance to make the postseason. Say it with me now. You put it in the chat box. You can drop a 98 in there, but say it with me right now. If the Dallas Cowboys win out, they have a 98% chance to make the postseason. And that's regardless of what the Eagles do. That's regardless of what anybody else do. Because all these teams ahead of us, they play each other. All these teams ahead of us that we got to worry about and try to catch up with, they're going to be knocking each other off, down the stretch. It's mathematically impossible for all of them, to end up, with 12 wins at this point. Because they all got to play each other. They all got to go against each other. They all got to take a L unless they tie. Salute to Randall, man, with the $10 super chat. Thank you for showing love. And it is the first of the month, man. It is the first. So, this is the first super chat of the month in the liquor store, man. So I appreciate you helping us start it off on a good note. Ken Folks said, HTN, we are 90% of the time a team that starts hot, but it feels different getting hot now. I hope Diggs fixes the holes on the back end. Salute to you. Let's run the table. Right? Salute to my brother Randy, man. And I agree. The Dallas Cowboys in years past have started, like 7-2. They start, 8-3 or 8-4 and shit like that, right? They start hot and then they flounder in the middle of the season. You know what I'm saying? And they're not playing their best brand of football going into the postseason. That has been true. This is the inverse. Really, it's so different this time around because I don't even feel like this is the same team anymore. Because of the moves that we made, and real quick, salute to Alville Gilmore, 3497 with the $5 super chat, man. I appreciate you. He ain't even had no words. He just want to support the channel, and I appreciate love like that, man. Thank you for helping keep the lights on. Thank you for helping me save my little bag of Fugazos. Now when hard times comes, I can just bust that open. Right now I can afford a cereal bar or something because of what y'all did. So I appreciate y'all, man. But yeah, it's sort of different this year. Because this team is so drastically different right now from what we started with. You might as well, I really mean that shit. The Dallas Cowboys as currently assembled are undefeated, right? The Quentin Williams-led defense has not lost yet. Now, they gave up 28 points, to the Chiefs, but they also held them scoreless for 2 quarters. They gave up 21 first half points to the Eagles, but they also shut them out the entire second half. Right? So this new look defense has shown early, return on investment. Hey, good morning, Miss Regina. Thank you for tapping in and showing love. So they shown a very early return on investment. And they help you get hot. Right? Because this offense has been pretty damn good all year. They've had some games where they stumbled and they weren't up to par. They've had some games like that. But for the most part, you can trust this offense to produce and put up points and, move the football. It just now got to the point where you finally can get some stops on the defensive side of the ball. You can get more than one stop a game. You're going quarters forcing multiple punts. So I feel that it is different. I feel that they are getting hot at the right time. And I also just think it's because of how revamped this team is at this point. And with that being said, though, with the overall mindset being that we have to, win out, these are the Dallas Cowboys' next 3 contests. Of course, Thursday, a very important game because it's like a double win, right? And let me elaborate on that when I talk about us getting a win over the Detroit Lions and why that's so damn important. This is a team that is directly ahead of you. If you pull up the playoff picture, the Dallas Cowboys are the 9th seed and the Lions are the 8th seed. Right? So you do yourself a double disservice if you lose this game. So not only would the Lions be up at that point about 2 games, they're 7-5. So if they beat you, they move to 8-5, and you fall to 6-1. So you'll be behind the Lions. The number of games you can win decreases to 10 on the season. The Lions have an extra win, and they will have the tiebreaker. Vice versa, you win this game. Now you got the head-to-head against the Lions. The Lions would then fall to 7-6, and you would move up to 7-5-1 with the tiebreaker. You would move to the 8th seed, and if anybody else fell out the playoff picture, you at that point would be the first team in. You know what I'm saying? So this is a chance for the Dallas Cowboys to leapfrog another, playoff hopeful that's directly ahead of them just by winning a head-to-head matchup. Now it's on the road. This is still a very physical football team, and they will play desperate. But if the same version of the Dallas Cowboys that played the Chiefs and played the Eagles show up and played the Raiders, you should be all right. This ain't a quarterback that's going to hurt you with their legs. This is an offense that might be missing their best wide receiver. I don't want to underplay just how important it is for Jared Goff to have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Right up to this point of the season, these are the best quarterback to wide receiver connections in the NFL. Dak Prescott is at the top with George Pickens. When Dak Prescott targets George Pickens, he has a passer rating of 134.4. Sam Darnold is second. When he throws the ball to Jackson Smith and Jigba, he has a passer rating of 130.7. Matthew Stafford to Puka Nacua, he has a passer rating of 120.5. So that's a damn good, connection they have. Lamar to Zay Flower, he has a 120 passer rating. Daniel Jones to Michael Pittman, he has a 117 passer rating. And at the bottom of the list, at number 6, Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown, 111 passer rating, I should say. My bad. So point being, that's one of the best quarterback to wide receiver connections in the National Football League. And, Amon-Ra St. Brown might not play. There's a very good chance that he's not healthy enough to go. And even if he is able to play, he will be greatly hindered. You're going to get a wide receiver that is far from 100% healthy if he does try to suit up and play for them. So with things like that fall in your favor, you gotta take advantage of it. You gotta take advantage of it. And I'm not saying that it's a lock that we win the game. You gotta go out there and play the games. You can't take anybody for lightly. This is still a well-coached team. They still got other weapons. They can lean heavily on that run game with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. But the path to victory is a whole lot easier if Amon-Ra St. Brown ain't out there. I ain't gonna hold you. And that way, they're making you pay for playing 5-man fronts. It's a little less likely at that point. Because going into this game, we got to win it. I am stopping the run. I'm doing everything in my power to prevent, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery from winning this game. I would much rather Jared Goff down, possibly an offensive lineman and his best wide receiver. I would much rather Jared Goff throw the ball 40 times and see if he can beat me. Down his best wide receiver, possibly down an offensive lineman. I want to see Jared Goff try and beat me. Because if I let Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, run for damn near 200 yards, or if I let them control the line of scrimmage and anybody can run on me, we're not going to win this game 9 times out of 10 unless this offense scores 40. So if I can slow down the run, make this offense one-dimensional, force Jared Goff to put the ball in the air, see if he can make a mistake or two because he's not mobile, and if you do move him from his spot, he's not the same quarterback. So that's my game plan going forward. No Amon-Ra St. Brown. Possibly, missing an offensive lineman. I want it to be Jared Goff that determines this football game for me. Because I think Jahmyr Gibbs can beat me. I respect Jahmyr Gibbs. I wanted Jahmyr Gibbs in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that kind of player. He's that kind of player. He's a difference maker. He's a true weapon. He's a true 3-down back. Not just because of pass pro or anything, but he can catch the ball out the backfield. He can line up his slot. He can do a multitude of things to hurt you from an offensive standpoint. And you gotta have a plan for him. But I'd much rather it be Jared Goff that tries to beat me. No disrespect to Jared Goff, but I would much rather it be Jared Goff than Jahmyr Gibbs. As my boy Rail pointed out too, we owed him an ass whooping. They went out that bitch and they intentionally ran the score up on our asses, man. They intentionally ran the score up on us. Really though, man, I want to see how Shotty responds to that shit. Cause Shotty, you was here last year. You may not have been the head coach, but you were the offensive coordinator. You were the offensive coordinator. So I want to see how you get them to respond. Can you weaponize that? Can you give them an extra bit of motivation going into this game to play well? How do you respond, Shotty? I want to know. I want to see it. Because it's sort of it's disrespectful, really, what they did to us at our crib. Now you have an opportunity to return the favor for that whole ass shit they done did. You got a real good opportunity to return the favor, man. So, Shotty, I'm looking at you honestly. I wants to know. I wants to know. Are you gonna go in here and hold your nuts on these niggas or what? But speaking of Shotty, I don't be meaning to segue and shit so quickly. But hold on, what could I say before I move off the screen? Trick plays. Oh yeah. They up here throwing the ball to offensive linemen and shit. They up here going for it when they already up 20 points. Fuck them niggas. That shit pissed me off now I think about it. But anyway, speaking of Shotty though, because I was intending to segue, he did drop an interview yesterday. You know what I'm saying? He did drop an interview. So we gonna play that and we gonna react to it real quick this morning, man. They do drop a lot. They do drop a lot of information. He do drop some nuggets up here heading into the week. So let's see what the homie Shotty talking about.
Time for both teams, playoff implications with this game, but
let's start from the beginning.
I'm taking the biggest swing of my life here.
I hate these weak ass.
What's your grit?
Time isn't on your side.
Yeah, fuck that.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Next question.
Well, just have to come with you now.
Yeah.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Trayvon Diggs, is he still on target to start practice today?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He's gone through a lot with his health, and I think you guys have had to discipline him a couple of times. And you've always said you're a people person. How is your relationship with Diggs?
I think really good. I think, Trayvon and I have had some really real conversations with one another and sharing our feelings, and I think he and I understand each other, and I respect him as a man and as a father, and what an incredible football player, and I think he understands what we're trying to build here and why we're trying to do it that way. And so I'm excited to see how he looks and how he.
All right, so Shotty did confirm that Trayvon Diggs, is going to have his practice window open. They did open his practice window, and he did practice yesterday. So, at this point in time, unless there's a setback, unless he looks awful or some shit like that, Trayvon Diggs is gearing up to come back and give our secondary a boost, for this game against the Detroit Lions. So unless there's something catastrophic that happens in between now and then, expect Trayvon Diggs to be available to play for the Dallas Cowboys. And listen, I know that more than one thing can be true. Has Trayvon Diggs had a Trayvon Diggs sort of season so far? No. You know what I'm saying? Did the Dallas Cowboys have any kind of pass rush, to help out the secondary when he was out there playing? No. You know what I mean? So I am expecting Trayvon Diggs, with an improved pass rush and an improved front, right, to be able to contribute at a high level for the Dallas Cowboys. Because you know what I'm saying? Unless you're telling me that all his athleticism is gone out of his body, which I don't think is the case. Unless you're telling me, that Diggs can't run no more, I refuse to believe that Trey, who was an all-pro caliber player, forgot how to play football. I just don't believe that. I think Trey just needed the front to be better. I think he needed them to take more chances, blitzing, and play a little bit more man coverage. I think Trayvon Diggs would be fine. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised, if Trey had a pick this game. Because Jared Goff will throw it to you, if you rattle him, if you hit him, if you cause him, to move, like I keep saying, move from the spot. And the reason I say that is because he does not excel, at a down by down basis of throwing off platform and throwing on the run. Like he can stand tall in the pocket and deliver the ball at a high level. That's why he's was a top draft pick. That's why he's been a starter for this many years. That's why he got the numbers he's got, right? But I'm saying if you can get to him and get some pressure and hit him, get some errant throws, he'll throw you the ball, right? And that's why I think Trey could have him pick this game, especially since they're gonna be down a good wide receiver. He might end up on J-Mo or something like that. He might end up on, Teslas or somebody like that, right? It's not like it's gonna be all pro and or nothing like that. So I think Diggs will have a good showing. But let's hear what the rest of this interview. Let's see what else Shotty got to say.
Feels.
The group has gone through a lot with the health. How do you think Fluke's been able to handle all those guys, the in and outs of it?
Yeah, again, it's unique when it hits certain positions. Like early in the year, it hit the offensive line where it comes in bunches and you're down a bunch of guys. Same thing with the DBs and really the corners. But I think they've managed it well. I think it's a good group of guys. They're all very professional. They all understand what we're trying to get done, and I think there's some selfless guys in that room. They just want to do their part to help us win.
How you doing, Coach? Everything?
I'm doing great, Happy. It's not Thanksgiving anymore. It's over. We've moved on. Yeah, we've moved on.
Oh, yeah.
Moved on. Yeah,
There
I
you
saw
go.
it.
Yeah.
I watched the game. Yeah.
You did. Great
I watched the game. Yeah.
Couple of questions. Piggybacking on the Diggs things, could he play safety, or is that even being considered?
No, I wouldn't even think of that. I mean, I think he's a shutdown corner when he's at his best and when he's playing well, and he is a guy with incredible ball skills. But again, I think it's going to be good to have him out there moving around a little bit and see how he feels.
All right. So also, just in case you were wondering, I don't know who floated that idea out, and I understand why people had the idea. We just seen, Jalen Ramsey make the full-time move to safety this year, right? We seen plenty of corners move to safety, at the end of their careers and prolong, their careers by doing so, right? So I guess that's why the question was asked. But, Shotty has no intentions of playing Trayvon Diggs as safety. So let's just get that out the way. He will play corner, and I think he will play corner well. So let's continue.
Jalen Carson, he back? You ready to go?
Should be, yep. See how he moves around today.
I know there's a lot on the line for both teams, playoff implications with this game, but Detroit has made this thing personal the last couple of years. You've been around here with the tackle eligibles and different things that they've done, maybe to embarrass the Cowboys. I don't know if is that a source of motivation for your team? Have you brought that stuff up? Do you even talk about that at all?
No, you know us, Clarence. We talk about ourselves and we focus on ourselves. I mean, Dan has built a really strong football team that mirrors his identity, and we're trying to do the same thing here, and just another championship opportunity for us.
Brian, Todd Archer with ESPN. I think three of the last 3 games, you've had 3 of your 4 best defensive performances on third down. What do you attribute the improvement to on your third down defense?
Yeah, tighter coverage. I think that starts affecting the quarterback is a huge part of that. Getting, even if it's not sacks, it's hits. It's moving them off the spot. It's them feeling the rush kind of in his face. But really a combination of those, and really. When we've struggled on third down, Todd, it's been really a lot of third and longs. Like, we've struggled on third and long, which is really you're trying to get people into third and long. And so I think that it's been more of the first 2 things that we've made them have to make tighter, more contested throws, one. And then, of course, the quarterbacks have been, feeling the pressure of our pass rush.
Praised Ezaraku here for the last month or so. Was there any kind of...
Also, I'm glad that he brought up tighter coverage. Because there were plenty of times where folks were running wide the fuck open and nobody even touched them. Now, zone, you cover an area of the field and not a person. But the moment somebody comes into your area, you have to account for them. And I don't think they did a very good job of, squeezing throwing windows, connecting to guys in space. I don't think they did a very good job of that earlier on in the season. They just did it for whatever reason. And, it could have been getting used to it. They played way more man, under Dan Quinn. They played way more man under Zimmer. But I think they're doing much better right now. Even when they call zone, it doesn't feel like folks are just running wide the fuck open. There have been some times because listen, every defense has places where they're susceptible to. There's plenty of routes that beat man. There are plenty of routes that beat zone. That's why you call both. So so you have a varied look at what the quarterback is throwing into, right? So there have been some times where guys get open, but it ain't being like you notice that though? Am I crazy? Am I the only one that's noticed that there haven't been like these big one-play touchdowns and chunk plays on the back end no more? You remember folks used to could just throw the ball up and they make a play against the Dallas Cowboys early in the season. You know what I mean? Like the back end was very compromised early on. Now I think because of how good your front is playing, teams don't really have the time to cock back and throw the ball like that no more. But I could be mistaken. Who knows? Let me know in the chat box y'all agree with me. Because I don't know the last time I seen like a wide open bomb on the Dallas Cowboys. Even the one on Thanksgiving, Patrick Mahomes was running for his life until somebody finally broke free and got open. You know what I mean? I don't think I've seen somebody just completely get behind the defense, for a huge 30, 40, 50-yard gain in quite some time, honestly.
Aha moment for you with him where you saw like, okay, he's kind of figured this out. Not that he ever figured it out, but he's kind of knows what the pro game's about.
I think just the consistency that he performs with every week is what jumps off the film at me. I mean, he just, he plays the run. He can affect the quarterback. He's disciplined. He's calling things out. And, I'm excited about him because I think, I also know the type of leader that he can be. And I think I shared with you guys, I talked to both him and Tyler Booker and, talked to them about, adding, their voice. And, hey, we're deep into the season and you guys are have earned the right to speak up, and it's been fun for me to watch both those guys kind of come out of their shell a little bit and be comfortable speaking up in front of the guys and in meetings and things like that.
Well, we weak ass. Y'all gotta bear with me and hold on. Skip.
John Machado with The Athletic. With Kenneth Murray and Logan Wilson, the way you've been using them, is that kind of the way you see it is going forward, or do you want one of those guys, or do you prefer one of those guys to just win the job and be the guy?
Yeah, again, I think, John, what we're trying to do is create competition every day, and I think both guys are doing good things. I think in a perfect world, someone grabs it and it's like a no-brainer, but I think the good thing for us right now is they're both doing really good things, and so therefore it's like, let's find the rotation. They're both very different players, which I kind of like because it's different for the defense, in terms of the way they function and the way, Logan's got strengths and K9's got strengths. And so I do think that that's harder on offenses, being an offensive guy. But, again, I think we're comfortable going into battle with both those guys. And until one of them clearly shows, hey, I've taken this thing over and it's my job, then we're comfortable playing them both.
And then what did you think of Nate Thomas on Thursday and just what you've seen his whole body of work?
Yeah, love his size, love his athleticism. I think he looks way more comfortable, way more confident. What I like about Nate is he's really been prepping the last couple weeks, both at right tackle, left tackle. We actually had him competing some on the right side as well. But, the thing I like about Nate's when he's gone in there and had to start, he's played well. He's played with confidence. And, I think that that's something that a young player who really is in year one, like, let's be honest, Nate is really in year one. I know it's year two, with his experience in the league, but he missed all of last year. And so we're very pleased by what we see from Nate and think he's got a very high ceiling.
Anything with George's knee, calf thing, or is he good through that?
Did you see him jump over that guy?
I did.
Yeah, I think he's okay.
Tommy Yarst, Cowboys.com. Dak and Jared Goff are, I think, 2 and 3 in play action passing this year. When you're going up against a guy who uses play action and is so good at it as your quarterback is in practice, do you feel like that is beneficial for your defense in a game setting because they've seen you work so much of it in practice?
I think so. I think, we both have identity where we want to run the football. We want to obviously, use the play action passing game. I think it does. I think when you look at some of the plays that they run, I mean, it's not just the action passing, it's the motions and things like that. They probably use more of the extra linemen than we do. But I think so, because a lot of times we can look at those plays, Tommy, and we translate it into our verbiage. And so it's almost like you're not even running a card, you're actually running a play that we have, and we can use our terminology on it. And I think that makes the look cleaner sometimes.
All right, so what they were just talking about was there are some similarities in how our passing game is structured. Dak Prescott and Jared Goff are two of the quarterbacks that utilize the most play action in the National Football League. Dak Prescott personally is one of the best quarterbacks in the league when using play action. Like his numbers are astronomical when utilizing play action pass. Like he's damn near unstoppable. So Schottenheimer is pretty much indicating, like, since they run similar stuff, that they should be prepared for it. They can game plan for it. Hell, it's even to the extent that they got similar plays in their playbook, and they can, probably call them in practice to prepare for what the hell the Lions are doing. She said, true, Green Bay didn't either. That's how they killed us last year. Yeah, man, I think y'all said on another show, but Goff ain't escaping like that. Nah. And I'm not sitting here saying that Jared Goff is the worst quarterback in the world or nothing like that. But when you aren't super athletic and you can't escape the pass rush, you just got to go down. And I think there's been plenty of times where we are able to bring him down. If we could sack Jalen Hurts and we could sack Patrick Mahomes, we could sack anybody. That's the way I see it. If we can sack Jalen Hurts and we can sack Patrick Mahomes, we can sack any quarterback. My boy said I have to have that background song. Oh yeah, man, like it's dope. You know what I'm saying? It's an instrumental my partner had made for me. Like when I was rapping and shit.
From the run
of course
game,
I ain't rapping
them
no
Gibbs
more,
and
so
Montgomery,
I'm repurposed.
is how unique is that, and what kind of a challenge did both of those guys present?
Yeah, both terrific players. Talk about Gibbs. I mean, the speed is just incredible. You know, you give that guy space, and he's just, I don't think I've seen him get caught yet. Loved him coming out. One of my favorite interviews that I ever did at the Combine. He was incredible, and I've competed against Montgomery a number of times, and the physicality he plays with. So I think it's a really cool balance that they have of those two guys, and not knowing them and how they function, I would imagine they're close friends and they want what's best for each other, but they're a very dynamic 1-2 punch.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. Quentin Williams has told us at least once that one guy can't do it all in the context of the difference that he's made. The evidence is pretty overwhelming of the difference that he's made. What do you see in the difference in the 3 games since he's been here?
I think it starts with just the way you have to game plan him. We've done that quite a bit, Skyler, over the last couple of years, and I mean, you have to have a plan to neutralize him. Him one-on-one is a very, very tough assignment for really any interior offensive lineman. But I do think that he's exactly right. It's not just one guy. I mean, we have Jadeveon Clowney's affecting the quarterback as much as anybody. You know what I'm saying? The coverage, Revel is doing a great job of tying up receivers, which is, again, tighter coverage, so now the pass rush gets home. And I think what you hear Q say is real. Defense is about all 11 guys, but again, I'd be lying if I said when you open up the personnel report and you see Quentin Williams' name, you're like, oh.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside and open an account. When you're ready to record.
Boom, all right.
What am I going to do about this? And so I think that's real. And when you pay a lot of attention to him, it gives other guys a lot of opportunities to showcase their talent.
And I'm glad that Shotty, because listen, both are true. Because Quentin was trying to be humble. Quentin, a good dude. He's a great teammate. He ain't trying to take all the credit for nothing. But like Shotty was saying, man, like we ain't finna sit here and act like Quentin Williams being in the middle of this defense, isn't a problem for opposing offensive lines. Like they got an entire, they got an entire game plan, for Quentin Williams when he lines up. They would not dare lead this man one-on-one. So you got a double team Quentin. You got to find a way to stop Quentin from wrecking your game. Because there's a lot of things that quarterbacks can deal with, but one thing that no quarterback can deal with is interior pressure. Because once that motherfucker gets to coming up the middle, right in your face, that sounds devious. Pause, nigga. Pause. But once a motherfucker, pressures the quarterback right in their face and line of sight, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing they can do about it. But run backwards or lay their ass down. Right? But when you get interior pressure, good things do not normally happen for an offense. So I love that, Quentin has been humble, and downplaying the impact on this team that he's been having. But Quentin Williams is a fucking problem. Now, as Shotty mentioned, like Overshown's been great. Revel's played well. Carson's played well. Logan Wilson's played well. We utilize more 5-man fronts. We're blitzing more. The coverage on the back end is better. All that shit is cool. Yeah. Like I had to rephrase that shit, Angie. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. Like, nah, we gonna get real specific from now on. So one thing that we ain't touched on too, like my brother said, he said that middle pressure will lock Goff in the trap. He is a statue in the pocket. Rebel Diggs and Bland can play close coverage and get picks. I predict the Cowboys blowout on the road. I hope that to be the case. The only way that we don't win this game is if we don't execute. The only way we don't win this game is if we don't execute. If we don't play good defense and if we don't play good offense. Like real shit. But let's see what else Shotty got to say. There's about 9 more minutes left on this video.
And his production seems to be a little better than it was with the Jets. Does that speak to what you're just saying, that the personnel that he joined, the guys you already have that could make plays, and now he's got him with him to do it?
Yeah, I think and how well he's fit in with the locker room. I mean, how quickly he's gotten adapted to our style, our culture, our connection, the way he's communicating. Certainly helped that he's had this style of defense with White Cotton, and but I think it speaks to him not just as a football player but as a man. I know everybody's talked about his speech, a couple weeks back, but like he's just been so easy to bring him into our family, and Logan as well. And really a number of the new guys, but like that's what you love about them.
Ed Werder, WFAA. When seasons start, teams generally talk about their first goal is to win the division. Since week one and that loss to Philly, it almost seemed unattainable where you guys were 2 weeks ago. But since you overcame that 21-point deficit and beat them, now you've won 3 straight. They've lost 2 straight. You're within a game and a half of them with 5 to play. How do you view the potential now, and how do you interact with the players about, achieving that goal?
Yeah, Ed, I talked to the guys today about, just trust the process. You got to stay in the moment. We're taking today. What is today? Seriously, today is Sunday, right? But it's Wednesday for us. Like, I'm not thinking about winning the division. I'm thinking about throwing a great practice today and then having great meetings this afternoon and cleaning up the things that we got to do and then putting together a great third down plan. Like, from day one, I've told you guys, and it's what I believe, and there's different styles. When you start looking too far ahead, whether it's game one, preseason, end of season, you take your eye off what really matters. And I think that's when you don't perform to your maximum capabilities because you're distracted. I told the guys a little bit today, just because we've won 3 games, that doesn't change anything. We're going to go out there today and we're going to be very intentional about throwing a great practice. We're going to go out there, run around in shells. We got to really focus on the fundamentals. I think focusing on the skills that help you play at an elite level is what's going to help us continue to sustain success and win games moving down into the latter part of the season and put ourselves in position to make the playoffs, whatever that looks like.
And I agree with Shotty. I agree, because every single game, I ain't gonna hold y'all too long, because I do got to take my black ass to work eventually. But I do agree with Shotty, because if you're not focusing on this shit one game at a time or one day at a time, you ain't focusing on your preparation and you worried about everything else going on around you. You don't put yourself in the best position, to take advantage, of this opportunity that's ahead of you. They know that they got to win out. They're not stupid. They know that they dug themselves in a hole, and they got to make up for all them stupid ass losses they had earlier on in the season, right? Not being able to beat the Green Bay Packers after dropping 40 at the crib, right? That tie is either gonna help you or hurt you on the back end. Losing, to the Panthers, after having ample opportunities to get stops and close that game out, right? Losing, to the Eagles the first time when you had all those opportunities. So they dug themselves in a hole. But they're in position now with the acquisitions that they made and the brand of football that they're playing down the stretch to make up for all of that. But they won't be able to do that if they're not focused in the here and now. If they're not focused on the details. If they're not focused, on playing fundamental football. If they're not focused on execution. If they're not focused on preparing for the Detroit Lions to the best of their capabilities. I don't give a fuck what the Eagles done did. I don't give a fuck what none of the other teams in the NFC done did. If we don't handle our business, if we don't go out here and put wins together, if we don't go out here and execute, none of that shit matters. Right? If we don't keep winning, we might as well have went 0-3. The 3-0 does not matter if we don't turn that shit to 4-0. And then the 4-0 don't matter if we don't turn that shit to 5-0. You got to take that shit a day at a time and, put yourself in the best position to go out here and win this game, bro. Because every game, because of your own mistakes, you have nobody else to blame but yourself. Because of your own mistakes, every game that you play down the stretch is a must-win game. So I'm glad that Shotty, is preaching that. I'm glad that Shotty is preaching to lock in on the details and to lock in, and taking the shit a day at a time, because that shit is going to matter down the stretch. How they execute, that shit is going to matter.
First season as a head coach, you had 2 jobs here when the season began that you've never done before here. Head coach ever, play caller on offense. In addition to that, you had the defensive crisis you had to get involved in, and the death of a player that you had to help the players through. How do you look at how you handled and managed all of those challenges?
This is why I stopped shopping on Amazon, and you should too. Don't spend another dime on Amazon.
I'm shopping on Amazon.
I'll probably do that after the season. To be honest with you, I'll look back, and I'm always going to be hard on myself. I'm always going to look at the things I didn't do well, but I'll also find the things I've done well. I think, what I would say to you, Ed, to that is I'm always going to be real. I'm always going to be me. And I think that, that allows me to sleep well at night after a win, after a loss, after a good day, after a tragic moment, because I think that's what allows you to impact people, is when you're authentic, you're real, you care about people, and that's the way I was raised.
Christy Scales, Cowboys Radio, 105.3 The Fan. Their Lions defense and their new coordinator, Shepard, he had been with Glenn for a few years and knows the players and personnel and system, but how different is it, and if at all, and every coordinator, I'm sure, tries to put their own stamp on things, so what is his?
I think he's doing a great job. I really do. I think, you look at, how physical they play. I give Dan a lot of the credit, but, with AG moving on to go to New York and Kelvin coming in, I think you see his personality fits in there as well. The thing that makes them a little bit unique is they're very comfortable playing base defense. They play base defense to basically everything. But this is a physical group, and they're aggressive, and they're going to get up in your face and play you press man to man. And they don't shy away from, saying, hey, we're going to come up and play you press man to man, and they make you work. And the linebackers are very, very good, and you can tell that there's a lot of carryover. But I do think that you see his personality. I think you see they're doing a really good job taking the football away. You watch the intentionality of them punching balls and trying to strip balls out, which has been an area that we need to be a lot better at. That's maybe one of the things that jumps out at me is how they're attacking the football.
Joe. Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. You've had 2 tough interior defensive lines that you faced the last 2 weeks. Tyler Booker's allowed 2 pressures. What's the biggest difference you've seen from the beginning of the season with Tyler Booker to now?
Fundamentals. I think, he's playing way more in balance. I think he's using his length. He's got incredible arm length, and he's using his length. And it's been 2 really, really good players. Talk about Jalen and Chris Jones. And I do think that it's because of the fact that he's playing with a great base and he's using his length, and the play style jumps off the film. He's always been great at that. That's never changed. But I would say it comes down to his fundamentals, and that kind of goes back to my point I was talking about earlier, was that has to continue. You can't get into late November, December, where you start pulling off of reps and you start pulling things back a little bit because of how late it is in the season. But you got to get your individual. Like, I'm not going to trim individual. We need to focus on those skills that allow us to play well. And I think that's why he's playing well, is he's learning to use his hands and stay in balance and have counter moves and things like that.
I know early in the season he had some rookie moments and then obviously had an injury too to deal with. Just how did you see him kind of handle that and kind of persevere through that?
He attacked it. He really did. He attacked it. I remember I could see him. He'd be over there with Britt. He'd be working. We'd be watching the plays. I'd see him down there doing this. Like, what are they doing? What play? Oh, I know that play. I think, he loves to play football, man. And I think you see that with the way he plays the game.
Calvin.
I've had a couple of guys that have been traded, and you've always said you're a communications guy, people person. How much do you talk to Quentin and Logan and even Kenny Clark about making sure that not so much stuff on the field, but away from the field stuff is going good too? They had to move their families here as well.
Yeah, well, again, one of the things that we do here is, I'm a family first guy, and one of the things we do here on, Saturdays, the day before the game of home games, is we have the families come up and they watch walkthrough, and they actually get way better access than you guys do. Sorry, not sorry, but You know, and then again, I walk around and I'm trying to be, as intentional about it as possible. But, my wife is great. She tries to reach out, and some of the position coaches. But been a lot of moving parts. But I'm always going to check on those guys. And quite honestly, when some of the things happen with Marshawn, I've reached out to the guys that are no longer here, and I want to check on them as well. Why? Because I love them. I care about them. Just because they're not here doesn't mean I don't love and care about them.
I don't know if you've asked.
I think this is the last question.
You have Tyler Guyton. How's he doing? And does he have a chance to play today?
We'll see. He's moving.
Nah, hell nah. I don't like the way he answered that. Tyler Guyton ain't finna play. Tyler Guyton ass is not finna play, dog. So it looks like Nate Thomas one more again, Nate. We in the bind, Nate. We in the bind, Nate. So Nate Thomas' ass look like he gonna get the start again. And shit, honestly, man, just make sure that Nate does not get his ass whooped by Aiden Hutchinson. Easier said than done, but give him some help. Maybe put the tight end on his side, chip on that side, do something. Because the one person that I'm scared of on that defensive line that can really rush the passer and wreck this game and get after Dak Prescott is Aiden Hutchinson. Like, he's a dog, man. Now, I don't think he had any sacks. I don't think they had a sack at all this last game, their team. I don't think they had a sack at all. But, Aiden Hutchinson is probably going to be the – let me see. Who else we got? Who else we playing? Aiden Hutchinson. It might be Aiden Hutchinson. Like, Aiden Hutchinson might be the best end left on the schedule. You can make the argument about Brian Burns because you do play the Giants again. But I think Aiden Hutchinson might be the best edge that we play at the down the stretch. So this is going to be a very telling game. How Nate Thomas plays in this game is going to tell me a lot about his viability at left tackle. It might tell the coaches a lot. I'm not saying that they should move Tyler Guyton to the other side or nothing like that. I'm just saying that we talk about competition. If he plays amazingly against one of the best pass rushers in the league, one of the highest paid pass rushers in the league, right, you should have an open conversation about that position. And if he gets his ass whooped, then you should have no qualms about moving, Tyler Guyton back into the starting lineup, when he's healthy. That's all I'm saying.
Around a little bit better, but we'll see. I don't know how much he'll do today, but I think it'll be close.
And Nate Thomas, how did he do last week?
He did good. He looked comfortable. He looked confident. I see a player that's really growing and feeling like, okay, hey, I belong. And that's a big part of it, right? You got to train your mind to feel like, okay, especially playing tackle or corner, that, hey, I can do this and I'm really talented. And and then you get beat and you guys reset, refocus. And I think I saw that from him last week, which is a great step for a young player.
Brian, I'll leave the one to those Cowboys. Just looking at the Lions, they're a very aggressive team. Dan Campbell goes for a lot of foot down, trick plays, things like that. Just how do you prepare really for a team that is really built so much off being aggressive on foot downs?
Yeah, it's a preparation thing. Third down is really second down. And that's the way you have to look at it. So when you're calling a defense and you're flus, you have to understand, let's say it's 3rd and 7 or 8, whereas in the league it's probably, in most situations, I know probably for myself, it's pretty heavy pass. But with a guy like that that's willing to go for it on 4th down, you got to be ready for different things, maybe a perimeter screen, maybe a run, a trap, something like that. But I think part of it is the preparation. You normally carry a few extra calls on 3rd down that can carry into 4th down because you know that there's going to be situations like that. And then in terms of the trick plays, trick plays are really cool when they work, but what stops trick plays is having great eyes and great communication on defense. And, we're both in situations where this is an important game and we want to play well. And I think that you should expect the unexpected.
That it? Good.
Thanks, guys.
All right. And that was Shotty. And that's everything he had to say, leading up from his presser. So that was about 16 minutes. We got some good nuggets. We know that Tyler Guyton's ass is not going to play 9 times out of 10. We know that Trayvon Diggs is trending towards playing. Let's see, said Payback Thursday, Circuit Master, the Lions. Yeah, man, like we owe them motherfuckers. We really do. But I have let the time escape me. It's already been just about an hour down there. I got to get ready to take my ass to work. So I appreciate everybody for the time that they given, taking time out of your morning to come and listen and participate on the show. Thank y'all for rocking with me. I'm sure that we'll still do Uncut tonight. So we'll be back, with some more Dallas Cowboys content. Maybe we'll have some updates because I was going to show injury reports, from practice. Cause they did practice yesterday, right? They practiced on Sunday, and Shotty called Sunday, his competition Wednesday because the way the schedule is right now, right? So it's a Sunday for us, but like in the work schedule week for the Dallas Cowboys, it was a Wednesday. So yeah, so hopefully by the time I come back on later on, we'll have the injury reports and we'll know what's going on, with our players and the Detroit Lions. But please, on the way out, hit the like button, hit the share if you care, slap the shit out of an Eagles fan because they deserve it. And in the words of my brother West Coast Cowboy, man, never look down because the star is up. Peace.